Good evening, folks. Thank you for coming back to another Tony Montana video. I hope you're doing well. I hope your dogs are doing well. My dogs are here chilling, hanging out. Yeah, well, another day, another dollar for them. You know, they don't get paid, but they get paid in food and loving. So they got a whole bunch of both things. Here that we are. I wanted to basically address the videos that I made today in Spanish. Just summarized it so that the subscribers that speak English only, they can also get the information or the gist of what I put in Spanish. So let's start with the first video that I made was about just explaining some of the things I do, some of the thought process behind maintaining a peace among pit bulls, Game Boy pit bulls. And again, these are 3 males, different ages, 3 years old, 2 years old, and a year old. I've done this for many years. I've done this with multiple dogs. Again, obviously, in the past, when you're learning, you make mistakes that make you a better owner. The dogs, you have to always remember and always acknowledge that the dogs are your teachers, number one teachers, and you have to be paying attention to the lessons, because the lessons come even when you're not paying attention, even when you're not looking. So you should always have even like a eyes behind in the back of your head kind of thing. These dogs are predictable. Dogs are mostly predictable. They give you proper indicators that they're going, for example, from here to there. They're not going. There is signs that go whoop, and if you're not seeing that, you're going to miss the whole going up, and you'll only see the end of the top, which is a dog fight. So one of the things that I recommend if you're new into and you're trying to introduce a new puppy to an environment with a young pit bull terrier, because I always advise, if you're thinking that you're going to get or have more than one American pit bull terrier, the second dog should be brought into the second puppy. Let's be clear, puppy should be brought into the pack young. Obviously, yes, young. I would say between the 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and the older dog should be around 12 months to a year and a half. I think that's the sweet spot time that the older dog still knows the dog is still young, but it still recognizes that I am older than that puppy, sort of thing, and kind of triggers that older brother taking care of the younger siblings from the older, from their canine ancestors. So that is an important aspect, and you have to, when you introduce them, first, before you do any of that introduction, I strongly recommend that before you do that, and especially if you know your dog is an aggressive dog already, that you exercise to exhaustion your dog. This will make you will make it better for you to introduce a dog, because the older dog is exhausted to the point of going, listen to the sound so that you recognize it's time. When a dog gets to the point of when they're breathing and you're feeling that it's a constant, that means they're good tired, they're laying down on the floor, they sometimes splat open, sometimes really they're looking to just cool down. That's a good opportunity to actually introduce the puppy. How would you introduce the puppy? That's something I didn't mention in my Spanish one, but you bring in kind of like, if you're presenting a bottle, if you're in a restaurant, they're presenting a bottle, but so that they can look, you can read the label. They put it on the forearm, and you have the butt in your hand, and you're presenting the butt to the nose over the dog, so it starts smelling the dog this way, and you're protecting it with your fingers. Obviously you have to trust your dog. If you can't even trust your dog, you should not be getting another dog, because you need more time. You need more time to trust dogs, because you raised them right. But this way, obviously, you trust them. You put your hand, and you're protecting that the dog is not going to bite you just to get to the puppy. And because they're tired, all that energy has been used up, and you can actually do that. So it's important that you train your dog, exercise your dog to exhaustion before you do that. And that really happened to me with one of my dogs. Over a decade ago. That dog was not raised with anything. The dog, when I had it already was an adult. That's why if you see some of my pictures, you'll see that dog has cropped ears. I did not crop the ears. The previous owner cropped the ears. The previous owner was my brother-in-law at the time, and he was in the army, and he was in Afghanistan or somewhere. I don't know which one, Kuwait, one of them. I think Kuwait is back in the day. So he couldn't take care of the dog, and I took it. So this dog actually was very very dog aggressive, but he was a very quiet dog aggressive. You wait until you're in a dog was close enough to catch before he made any movements. So obviously with the puppies, I had to be extra careful, because obviously the puppy gets close enough, it will be too late. So what I did was that at the beginning I tried, but I could see the dog. I tried without getting into exhaustion, but I could see the malice. I could see the bad intentions that the dog had with the puppy, and I couldn't keep it. I could not put it to the floor, because I saw the bad intention. As long as I had it on me, it was safe. But not after. So I really found out that if I could find a picture of one of those introductions that I had, because I took pictures that the dog was tired, and I put him in the crate, and then I put the puppy near, in front of the door, and that was because prior to that he would get all amped up and try to slam his head on the wall, on the door or the crate, to try to get to the puppy. So once I got him to exhaustion, I did the same thing, but he was too busy trying to get some air than actually dealing with the puppy. And I did that more often enough until the dog got used to it, even when he wasn't tired. So he wasn't, because he had already had the experience of not attacking the dog when they already had physical contact. Because there was a point that I let him go, and my dog was so tired that he was just laying down tired, that the puppy was around smelling him while he was just grabbing some air. And because nothing negative happened to the older dog when he was defenseless, he began to accept the dog. Let me speed up the story, because there's so much more to go, and I see 9 minutes already. So anyway, so eventually he was accepting the puppies, but puppies grow up, and puppies start smelling differently. And for these males that I had, he at probably around a year and a half, this dog would detect that the dogs were different, and that these dogs need to go, or he's going to have to push them out. And so he was the dog the dog that started my dogs. So unintentionally, of course. Obviously, I keep them free until there's a fight. Then after the fight, if I see there's no remedy, which more than likely there's not, I know that there's some trainers to tell me, I believe Cecil Milan says it, that there is, There is a way you just have to correct it in the moment. I don't know, but I may try if that ever happens to correct it in the moment, so that and see what happens. But anyway, so let's continue on. I will explain that that dog was crazy, but I'm not going to continue on the story because I already have 10 minutes through it. I'm going to tell you about other things that help me with the socializing would be eating of meat, feeding meat. There's been several studies on humans, and that notice that when they eating meat versus carbohydrates, eating meat helps you make more calm decisions, and carbohydrates are make you more kind of like aggressive, according to the studies when they did on humans. And I've noticed that yes, obviously when they eat meat, they're calmer afterwards. They're kind of like sleeping. Everything comes down. You know, perhaps the sugar has to do with it. Who knows? I really, that part is just just wondering. But yeah, and so that is another thing that you have to think about. Feeding raw is good for the dog to maintain calmness, because it's actually getting some chemicals in the meat, that natural chemical in the meat that help it remain calm, like a sedative. So anyway, so you also have to think about that once you increase the amount of dogs you have, one dog will act a certain way. Now you introduce a second dog, those two dogs will act in a different way than if they were just the one dog. Not if you bring in a third or a fourth, depending on what your situation is. The situation, the personality of the dogs will shift, will change, because now they have more moving parts that in the pack. So they will move according to, and obviously you need to be there because you need to be the main moving part here. So again, do not jump into too many dogs, because it could become a catastrophe. But once again, the introduction needs to be slow. I already explained the age that you should introduce new dogs, but again, all this doesn't really make you say this dog. Once you're doing this, doesn't mean that strange dogs are going to be safe. That's a different type of training. Unfortunately, I don't have too many people with friendly pit bulls or other dogs. I mean, the people that I do know are they do have pit bulls, game bred dogs, and I'm the only one that does this. Everybody else is more traditional. Again, I'm just here trying to prove that it can be done. You can't do this. Just need more practice. You need more learning, more hands-on, and be with the dogs much longer than that. So you always have to remember, and I do have sticks all over the house. You have to remember, you never trust a dog not to fight. Okay? Now let's skip to another topic. Let's skip about one question that one of the subscribers gave me about. Hey, this is basically what they told me. They told me that how can I make my dog assert himself, be more dominant, more stronger against towards the other dogs in the house? Because this is what he said. Because outside, when I walk him outside with all the dogs, if the other dogs outside come at him, he's fine. He'll be that bulldog. But when he's in house with the other bully types or bull types, he shows submission. So I basically told him, really does depend on the age of the dog, and then I say, don't think that is something that you should change or try to change, especially if the dogs are old or older, or over 3 years old, 2 years old, 2.5 above. they basically have set themselves a hierarchy. In the hierarchy, each dog has their position, and if you see it how you see it, that means that that particular dog is the omega in that group. And so you making changes without you actually being the alpha recognized alpha there, you can create that the other dogs may attack him, may attack the dog that you want to make better, just to make sure that he understands who is alpha, who is higher ranked. So you do have to try just make sure that it doesn't go overboard. But especially because it's not real pit bulls, so they do have a stop. They do have that mentality of saying dominance and stop. So if you have that dog, don't interfere, because a lot of the biting that would do is dominance biting, not attack biting. Big difference. For me, it's big difference. Attack biting and dominance biting. Dominance is not going to try to take you out. It's just to give you a lesson, put you in your place, and that's it, because you're still part of the pack. Now, attack is completely different, and you have to be more careful about that. Now, I think I'm going to leave it here. There was another piece, but I think I'm just going to make another video because it's already 16 minutes, or going to 17 minutes. I think we're done here. I'm just going to make another video about a smaller piece that I did not include in this video. Hope you enjoy this. This is Tony Montana. Hasta la vista, baby.